Good morning, my friend. I am 70 years old, and I have been retired for nearly 8 years now. These days, life moves a little slower. I wake up early, make a cup of coffee, and enjoy the quiet. I live alone now in a small house not far from my daughter's place. Life has changed a lot since I stopped working, and one thing I have learned is this. After retirement, you have to be smart about money, not because of fear, but because peace of mind is worth more than gold. Every dollar you keep is a step toward freedom. Over the years, I have picked up a few habits, small things that have made a big difference. So today, I want to share with you 12 of the smartest, most practical ways I have learned to save money after retirement. These are not theories or tricks. These are things I live by. Maybe they will help you too. I hope this video feels like a good talk with an old friend, honest, useful, and just a little bit wise. Tip 1. Switching to generic brands was a game changer. Back when I was younger, still working, still raising a family, I never thought much about the price differences between brand names and store brands. I just grabbed what looked familiar. If I saw the same logo I had always bought, I figured it had to be better. Maybe it was habit. Maybe it was just comfort. But after I retired, I started to really pay attention to where my money was going. One day at the store, my grandson, he was about 10 at the time, pointed to the box of cereal I always bought and said, "Grandpa, why don't you try that one? It's the same thing and it's cheaper." And sure enough, right next to the brand I usually bought was a generic version, nearly $2 less. So I tried it. Tasted just fine. After that, I started comparing other products, not just cereal, but paper towels, canned vegetables, pasta, over-the-counter medicine, even cleaning supplies. The difference was eye-opening. In most cases, I could not tell a difference in quality at all. Some things, like aspirin or allergy medicine, are actually required by law to be the same as the brand name version in terms of active ingredients. Same thing, different label. And a few dollars saved each time. Now I still buy brand names for a few items where quality really matters to me, like coffee or shoes. But for most everyday items, I buy generic or store brands without a second thought. Over a month, the savings add up, probably around $40 to $50 depending on what I need. Over a year, that's hundreds of dollars staying in my pocket. It is not just about being frugal. It is about making smart choices that support the life I want to live now. I do not want to sacrifice comfort or quality of life. I want to live well. And part of that means making each dollar stretch a little farther. Switching to generics was one of the easiest ways to start doing that. Tip 2. Lowered my utility bills without sacrificing comfort. I have always liked a warm house in the winter and a cool one in the summer. But once I started getting those big utility bills, $200, sometimes $300 a month, I knew I had to make a change. I live on a fixed income now. Social Security helps and I have some savings, but every dollar I spend on heating or cooling is a dollar I cannot use elsewhere, like groceries, medicine, or even treating my grandkids to ice cream. I started doing small things first. I sealed up drafty windows with weather stripping and foam tape. I put a door sweep on the front door to block the cold air. I added some heavy curtains to keep the heat in during the winter and block the sun during the summer. These small improvements made a big difference right away. My home felt more comfortable, and the furnace did not have to work as hard. Then I bought a programmable thermostat. It was not expensive, but it allowed me to set a schedule. Now the heat turns down a bit at night when I am under the covers, and it warms back up just before I wake up. Same thing with the air conditioning in the summer. I do not need the house ice cold when I am not home. That one change probably saves me $30 to $40 a month by itself. I also became more mindful about energy use in general. I turn off lights when I leave a room. I unplug small appliances I do not use often, like the toaster and the coffee grinder. I wash my clothes in cold water and line dry when the weather allows. I even swapped out most of my old light bulbs for energy-efficient LED bulbs. None of these changes took much effort, but the result is a lower utility bill every single month. And here's the best part. I never feel like I am sacrificing. My home is still cozy. I am still comfortable. But now I am spending less and living more wisely, which is what retirement is really all about. 3. Meal planning saved me more than I expected. When my wife was still with me, we used to cook meals together almost every day. It was part of our routine, something comforting, something we enjoyed. These days I still cook, but it is a little different now. I am cooking for one, and I do not want to waste food or money. That is where meal planning became my best friend. At first, I thought meal planning sounded too rigid, like I would be eating the same boring things every day. But I learned that it is really just about being intentional. I sit down once a week, usually on Saturday or Sunday morning, and think about what I want to eat that week. I look through my pantry, freezer, and fridge to see what I already have. Then I make a list, not just meals, but what I actually need from the store. This helps me avoid overbuying, which used to happen a lot. I would walk into the store without a plan and come out with things I already had, or things that ended up spoiling in the fridge. Now I shop once a week with a clear purpose. I stick to the list most of the time, and I find myself wasting a lot less. Another thing I do is cook in larger batches. For example, I will make a pot of chili, stew, or baked pasta and portion it out into containers. Some I eat that week, and the rest goes into the freezer. That way, when I do not feel like cooking, I still have a homemade meal ready to go. No need to order takeout or go to a restaurant just because I am tired. Since I started meal planning, I spend less money on groceries and far less on eating out. But more than that, I feel better. I am eating healthier, more balanced meals. I am not throwing away as much, and every meal feels more intentional, more grounded. In a way, it reminds me of the meals my wife and I used to make. Not rushed, not expensive, just good food made with care. Tip 4. Downsizing to a smaller home was the best decision. After the kids moved out and started families of their own, the house just felt too big. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a big yard. It made sense when the kids were home. But after retirement, it became more of a burden than a blessing. I spent so much time cleaning empty rooms, mowing the lawn, paying property taxes, and fixing things that kept breaking. One day I looked around and thought, who am I keeping all this space for? That was when I started thinking seriously about downsizing. I will not lie to you. It was not an easy decision. That house held a lot of memories. I raised my children there. My wife and I spent decades building a life in those walls. Letting go was emotional, but it was also necessary. I found a 2-bedroom cottage about 10 minutes from my daughter. It is small, yes, but it is warm, quiet, and just the right size for me. No stairs to climb, no lawn to mow, lower property taxes, lower utility bills, and fewer things to maintain. The move itself took some planning, and I had to let go of a lot of stuff. Old furniture, clothes I had not worn in years, boxes of things I had not opened since the 90s. But I kept what mattered. And surprisingly, I do not miss the rest. Financially, it was one of the best choices I ever made. My monthly expenses dropped significantly. Hundreds of dollars in savings between the mortgage, utilities, maintenance, and taxes. But the real gain was peace of mind. I do not worry about pipes bursting or roofs leaking. I have time and space to breathe. And being closer to my daughter and grandkids, that is something money cannot buy. Tip 5. Senior discounts. You just gotta ask. I will admit something to you. For a long time, I never liked asking for discounts. Maybe it was pride, maybe it was habit, but it just felt awkward. I thought it made me look cheap, like I was asking for a handout. But one day, my daughter said something that changed my thinking completely. She told me, "Dad, you earned those years. That discount isn't charity, it's respect." And she was right. After all, I worked hard my whole life. I paid my dues, raised kids, paid taxes, gave to my community. So why shouldn't I take advantage of something that's been put in place to help people like me? So I started asking. It felt strange at first, but it got easier. Now, whenever I go to the grocery store, pharmacy, or coffee shop, or even the movie theater, I politely ask, "Do you offer a senior discount?" And you know what? More often than not, the answer is yes. It is not always a huge amount, maybe 10% here, 15% there. But it adds up. My grocery store offers a senior discount on certain days. The local diner knocks a couple dollars off the lunch special. Even my cell phone company had a special rate for seniors, which I would never have known about if I had not asked. There are also national programs that offer discounts to folks over 60. Some require a membership, like AARP, but even without it, you can still get plenty of benefits just by showing your ID and asking. And it is not just about saving money. There is something affirming about knowing that people recognize the value of older adults. We may not be in the workforce anymore, but our time, our presence, and our experiences still matter. These discounts are just one small way society acknowledges that. So if you are like I was, hesitant to ask, I encourage you to give it a try. Be polite, be confident, and remember, you earned every one of those years. A few dollars saved here and there may not seem like much, but over time, they make a big difference. And there is no shame in being smart about how you spend your money. In fact, that is one of the wisest things you can do in retirement. Tip 6. Cutting unused subscriptions was like finding money. About 2 years ago, I sat down with a cup of tea and decided to take a good, hard look at my monthly expenses. Not the big ones. I already knew what I was paying for the house, insurance, and groceries. I was curious about the little things, the things I signed up for months or years ago and maybe forgot about. So I pulled out my bank statement and started going line by line. It did not take long to spot some surprises. There was a music streaming service I barely used anymore, a monthly fee for a magazine I no longer read, 2 television streaming services, both showing the same kinds of shows, and even a subscription to a meditation app I downloaded once and never opened again. I did the math. Altogether, I was spending almost $70 every month on services I barely used. That is over $800 a year, enough to cover a plane ticket to visit my grandkids, or fix the porch, or even just add to my savings. So I canceled most of them. Some were easy, just a click. Others took a phone call. A couple made me go through 3 or 4 screens before they let me cancel, but I stuck with it. And when the next month's bank statement came, those charges were gone. It felt like getting a raise. These days, I keep it simple. I only pay for the things I actually use and enjoy. One streaming service is enough. I read the newspaper at the library, and if I want to try something new, I always look for a free version first. There is something really freeing about clearing out those silent money drains. You do not feel the weight of them day to day, but once they are gone, you realize how much they were holding you back. It is like turning off a leaky faucet. You do not see it until you stop the drip. So if you have not done this yet, I recommend you take an hour, sit down with your bank or credit card statement, and see what you are paying for. Cancel what no longer serves you. It is not just about the money. It is about taking back control. And in retirement, that kind of peace of mind is priceless. Tip 7. Fully using my Medicare benefits. When I first signed up for Medicare, I will be honest, I was overwhelmed. All the parts, A, B, D. And then there were supplement plans and advantage plans, and I did not know what was what. I chose something basic and hoped for the best. I figured as long as I had a card in my wallet, I was covered. But over time, I started hearing things from friends, things I did not know. A neighbor mentioned he got help paying for his prescriptions through something called the Extra Help program. My cousin told me she got a gym membership included in her Medicare Advantage plan. And someone at church said she was getting dental coverage through a supplemental plan. All things I did not know were possible. So I did some homework. I called my local senior center and asked if they had someone who could help me understand my options. They did. A kind lady named Susan walked me through everything. We looked at my current coverage, what I needed, and what other benefits were available. She helped me apply for the Extra Help program, and within a month, my out-of-pocket costs for medication dropped significantly. Now I get my flu shot every year at no cost. I take advantage of free screenings and checkups. I even found a dental plan that covers my cleanings. And most importantly, I know where to go if I ever have questions. Medicare can be confusing, especially when you are trying to figure it out alone. But once you understand what is available, it becomes a powerful tool for staying healthy without going broke. I cannot tell you how many people I have met who were missing out on benefits simply because they did not know to ask. So my advice is simple. Do not just settle for the basics. Make sure you are getting the most from what you have. Contact your local area agency on aging. Ask for help. Look at your plan every year during open enrollment. What worked last year might not be best this year. Taking care of your health is one of the smartest money decisions you can make. And Medicare, when used right, can make that possible without draining your wallet. Tip 8. Using free clinics and health screenings. One of the lessons I learned later in life, and I wish I had learned it sooner, is that staying healthy is the best way to save money. Sounds simple, right? But when you are on a fixed income, even basic health care can feel expensive. Doctor visits, tests, prescriptions, they add up quickly. That is why I started taking advantage of free and low-cost health services in my community. It started with a flyer at the library, a free blood pressure screening at the community center. I figured, why not? I went, and while I was there, the nurse mentioned they also offered cholesterol checks, diabetes screenings, and even flu shots, all at no cost to seniors. I started going more regularly. The folks were friendly, and the peace of mind was worth the trip. Then I found out my local senior center partnered with a dental school that offered free cleanings and checkups. The students were supervised, and they treated me with such care and respect. I have also had my hearing checked for free at a mobile clinic and got a vision exam at a health fair. These kinds of services are out there, often underused simply because people do not know about them. Check your community bulletin boards, senior centers, churches, libraries, and even your pharmacy. Many chain stores now offer free health screenings or consultations, and Medicare covers many preventive services as well, including yearly wellness visits. By staying on top of my health, I have avoided problems that could have become expensive emergencies. And I feel better too. More energy, more clarity, more control. Taking care of your body is not just about avoiding illness. It is about protecting your independence. So if you are not sure where to start, ask someone at your local community center. There is no shame in seeking help. In fact, it shows wisdom. And every small step you take toward better health is a step toward saving money and living life with dignity and strength. Tip 9. Free senior transportation changed everything. When I finally gave up driving, it was not an easy decision. I had been behind the wheel since I was 16 years old. Giving it up felt like losing a little piece of my independence. At first, I relied on my daughter to take me to doctor appointments, the grocery store, or church. She did not mind, but I did. I do not like feeling like a burden, even to the people who love me. Then one afternoon at the community center, someone mentioned our town offered a free transportation service for seniors. I had never heard of it. They handed me a small pamphlet and said, "Just call 2 days ahead and they will pick you up. take you where you need to go and bring you home. No charge. I tried it the next week. The van showed up right on time. The driver helped me with my grocery bags. He even remembered my name the next time. Inside the van were a few other folks. A man heading to his medical appointment. A lady going to her knitting group. We chatted, laughed a little, and shared stories. It felt more like a neighborhood gathering than a bus ride. Since then, I have used the service regularly to get to the pharmacy, the dentist, the park, and even the farmer's market on Saturdays. I no longer worry about gas prices, car repairs, or renewing my license, and I never have to ask my daughter to rearrange her schedule for me. The savings are clear. No car payment, no auto insurance, no oil changes or unexpected breakdowns. But what surprised me most was how much lighter I felt emotionally. I had not realized how much stress and responsibility came with driving, especially as I got older. Now I feel safer, more relaxed, and still completely connected to the life I want to live. If your city or county offers senior transportation, take advantage of it. Call your local aging services, senior center, or even the public transit office. There might be a shuttle, a volunteer ride program, or a special discounted bus pass just waiting for you. Giving up driving does not mean giving up freedom. Sometimes it means finding a new kind of freedom, one that costs less, feels safer, and connects you to your community in unexpected ways. 10. Bundling insurance. Was surprisingly smart. I had been with the same insurance companies for years. One for my house, another for my car. I never really questioned it. I paid the bills, renewed the policies, and moved on with my day. But after retirement, when I started reviewing my monthly expenses more closely, those insurance premiums stood out. Between home and auto, I was paying quite a bit. One day, while helping my grandson research something online, I ended up looking at a comparison site for insurance. I typed in a few details just out of curiosity. Within a few minutes, I saw I could save a good chunk of money by bundling my policies, putting them under one provider. So, I picked up the phone and made a few calls. The first agent I spoke to was helpful and explained that by combining my auto and homeowner's insurance, I would qualify for a multi-policy discount. On top of that, because of my age, I qualified for a senior discount. They also offered a discount for being claims-free and having certain safety features installed in my car. The result? My new bundled plan covered everything I had before, even a few extras, and saved me over $300 per year. Now, I am not saying you need to switch companies right away, but it is worth calling your current provider and asking if they offer bundling or senior discounts. If not, shop around. Make a few calls. Let them know you are retired and looking for smarter options. Insurance is one of those areas where loyalty does not always pay off. Sometimes, a simple phone call can lead to big savings. At this stage in life, I am not taking unnecessary risks, but I also do not want to overpay for coverage I rarely use. Bundling my insurance made things simpler, saved me money, and gave me peace of mind, all without reducing the protection I need. Tip 11. Free entertainment is everywhere. You just have to look. You might be surprised by how much fun you can have without spending a dime. When I first retired, I worried that I would feel bored, that without work the days would drag on. But what I discovered is that entertainment does not have to come with a price tag. My local library, for example, is a treasure chest. Not only do they have books, but they also offer free DVDs, audiobooks, and digital access to magazines and newspapers. They even host events, lectures, book clubs, music nights, craft classes, all free to the public, especially for seniors. Then there is the community center. They have yoga for seniors, painting workshops, walking clubs, even line dancing. The cost? Nothing. They just ask that you show up with a smile. I started going to the morning coffee group once a week. We talk about everything: sports, memories, grandkids, politics, and for the price of a free cup of coffee, I walk away feeling connected and uplifted. Nature is free too. I go to the park for walks. I take my lunch out to a quiet bench and just watch the birds. On Sundays, the city orchestra plays in the plaza during the summer months. You bring a lawn chair and enjoy live music under the sun. Churches also offer free community gatherings, movie nights, and potlucks. I even attended a free technology class once where a teenager patiently taught us how to use our smartphones. We laughed a lot that day. The point is this: retirement does not have to be lonely or expensive. There are people, places, and programs all around us designed to make life richer. We just have to say yes. Free entertainment is not about doing without. It is about finding joy in the simple shared things. That is a kind of wealth that cannot be measured in dollars. 12. Sharing and swapping with neighbors. One of the nicest surprises about getting older is how deeply I have come to appreciate community. Not just the people in my family, but the folks who live around me. When I was younger, I was always busy. Work, raising kids, fixing the house. I did not make much time for neighbors. But these days, I have come to realize how powerful a good neighbor relationship can be, especially when it comes to saving money and staying connected. Take Carol, who lives next door. We swap things all the time. When I bake too many muffins, I bring her a few. When her tomato plants are going wild, she leaves a basket at my door. One time, I needed a small ladder. Instead of buying one, I just asked around. A neighbor lent me theirs for the weekend. Another time, I lent out a power drill. No money changed hands, just kindness and trust. We even started a small neighborhood swap board on a bulletin board at the community center. Folks post items they no longer need: books, kitchenware, light tools, and others can take or trade. It is amazing how much can be reused and appreciated by someone else. During the holidays last year, a few of us decided to do a no-spend gift exchange. We made things by hand or regifted items we had at home. I gave my neighbor a jar of pickles I made from my garden. She gave me a loaf of banana bread. It cost nothing, but meant everything. Sharing resources is not just about saving money. It is about building relationships. It is about knowing someone is nearby who cares. In a world that sometimes moves too fast, that kind of simple connection, swapping a tool, sharing a meal, lending a hand, reminds me that we are not alone. And in retirement, that feeling is worth more than anything money can buy.